We provide credit reports on international companies, and we're worldwide, cover the globe. And we obtain that information from our credit investigators that are physically based in the countries worldwide. So we do fresh boots on the ground in-country investigations. And that would be an advantage because you're getting real-time information, anything that's changed, any problems with the company, impending lawsuits. We're going to pick those up in real time. And we can also speak specifically to the dollar exposure you're working with. It's not a canned product that you might pull off of a database. I found in the last 2 years, my responsibilities really dialed up in the volume of business that I was servicing. And I did not have the time or the bandwidth to cold call as I had in the past to get new business. And as anybody in business knows, if you're not growing new business, your business will slowly deteriorate. You have to always be adding new prospects, new people that are looking at your product. And I just didn't have time to put the time in that it would take to get these new people interested. And what I liked with Callbox is that when I would come in the morning and open up my calendar, I get started early in the day with my coffee, and there would be appointments booked that day with key decision makers. And then I could prepare my notes for that call. So I felt that I was getting really good quality face-to-face time with really good quality prospects that would have taken me a much longer time to try to find and set myself. My goal was trying to reach new prospects and grow my business in the international credit reports that we do, and also the commercial collections that we pursue debt against companies worldwide. And so just gaining new business was my initial goal. How that kind of grew or changed as time went on, and this was with the help of Callbox, was we found just through the process of working together and trial and error, new industries, and I've been doing this a long time, that I had never even considered approaching because I didn't think that it would be relevant to our product, wouldn't be a good fit. And it turned out that it was. So now I have a lot of different industries that I know I can go after and focus on in continuing to grow the new business. And I'd say Callbox would often email me and say, we're talking to someone, but they're not your typical, target. Should we set a meeting? And I would always say yes, because even if it's a 5-minute call, like, nice to meet you, sorry, it's not a good fit. I thought, well, why not? And I would say more than half of them, it was a good fit, and it really surprised me. So that's definitely a plus. I wish. No. So prior to, I was going through our internal client database and looking for people I'd had previous conversations with and had not worked with, and then trying to circle back around and reconnect. I would also go on LinkedIn in the mornings and look at second and third connections of existing clients and try to reach out or be introduced, and just do cold calls on in my industries we target. I would try to focus on those industries and cold call and try to find out who in the company and the accounts receivable was my target. But it's slow going because, like I say, I have a lot of other stuff going on. So it ended up being, as my responsibilities grew, it became very piecemeal trying to prospect. It was in little bits throughout the day, as opposed to having time to focus on it for half the day or all the day. Oh, when I was prospecting,
Yeah.
so I would say out of every 10 people that I would locate a qualified
Hmm.
lead, I would close maybe 1 to 2 out of that 10. So um, I knew that I had to have 10 conversations with qualified people to
Hmm.
get at least one sale. So,
A
you know, it,
10%
it
close
takes it
ratio.
takes a
Yeah.
minute to book 10 appointments with 10 qualified people. And you
Mm.
have to figure out before the appointment who that qualified person is and
Yeah.
if they're willing to speak with you. So it's easier said than done.
And how long would it take you to get those 10 conversations?
Um, See, it's interesting because you could make many calls in a day, but not
Yeah.
necessarily have 10 conversations with
Conversations.
the person that you need to talk to. So I don't know, maybe hmm, with the decision maker speaking to them, I would say maybe 2 to 3 days to reach the two that I would need.
I mean,
You know, so you could make 30 calls, but not reach the person
10
you need to.
prospects.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, correct. So I would say for every 10 outreach to a qualified, then I would be able to, and speaking to them, I could
Hmm.
get 1 to 2 that were interested and continue the conversation. So it's slow going. And I may, in cold calling, I might have to speak to someone 5 or 6 times before they would feel
Mm.
comfortable purchasing. And I think with the callbacks method where you have the Teams call set, um, you're still doing repeat conversations, but it shortens the process. There was the one that comes to mind that
Mm.
really impressed me was uh, uh, there we would go with Callbox, we would work together and we'd try to
Mhm.
figure out, okay, this isn't working. Let's try focusing on this. Let's try focusing on that. And so one month we said, let's focus on collections. And as we were speaking, you and I were speaking of earlier, coming across industries you don't normally
Mhm.
target, they said, oh, we found this gentleman and he was interested in collections, but he's a software company and we usually sell to manufacturers. And I said, well, go ahead, set it up. Who knows, right? Well, I was speaking with the CEO and the 3 decision makers under him, which impressed me that there were that many decision makers on the call. And they were based in Israel, which is an area I would never cold call. Now, that I'd be against dealing with
Mhm.
Israel. I usually
That's
cold call within the United States.
yeah.
I didn't assume that would be an easy thing to do. And we had a wonderful conversation and they were very interested. And then they set up 2 more Teams calls. And after that, we became their sole provider for all of their outside collection services, which was very fruitful for our company. And in addition to that, they were so pleased that they referred me to 3 other companies that are in the software industry in Israel. So that one contact with a country I had never really dealt with led to 4 very happy
Uh,
customers in Israel that I love dealing with. As a matter of fact, had a Teams meeting with one of them yesterday, and it was just it was exciting to get to not only that the deal worked out and that there were many referrals, but a market that I just wouldn't have thought of, a country I wouldn't have assumed that I could call, or that would have a need for what we do, because of their industry. So that was wonderful. And another one, there was a large company that in the medical industry, very well known, huge giant of a company, and I had tried in the past and couldn't reach the key people. And Callbox set up a really great call for me, and I found out on the call that their credit department had been moved to Costa Rica. So even though it was an American company that I was targeting, the call center and all the credit was in Costa Rica, and I didn't know that. So again, it's, those to me, those are the big successes that I think I might not have easily figured out in my hodgepodge attempts to cold call. I have quite a few international customers now from Callbox, and quite a bit of customers in Canada that I did not have before. And then in speaking to them, they say, "Oh, hey, you need to talk to our trade group," or "Hey, do you know of this company?" And they're introducing me into those markets. So yeah, it's exciting, to know that the world isn't closed, that I'm not limited, I suppose, to just my own country or nearby. I think the most valuable thing is that they're setting appointments with the qualified decision maker that I need to be talking to. And even if that person only has 10 minutes to talk to me with their busy schedule, that is a huge benefit for me. And I know from my own prospecting efforts that that is not easy to set up. And also, I would say since COVID, things have really changed. You would often call a brick and mortar company, get the main switchboard, ask for your target, and be put right through. Now people might be working from home. They might be working in another state. The company might have closed their brick and mortar store, and the operator says, well, they work from home and I'm not going to give you their phone number. So it's not as easy to reach people. So for me to have those preset calls with the decision maker, and also I liked that we started having some issues where the calls were people might not show up. And I talked to Callbox about that, and they said, well, here's what we'll do. We'll follow up the couple hours before the call and make sure that they're still going to be there, and stay on them to make sure they show up. And then we had a lot of people showing up where they'd say, oh gosh, I can't, can we reschedule for Wednesday? So I felt like those hard-won appointments didn't get wasted, because the Callbox team was following up and following through to make sure that those appointments were solid. So I'd say those were the two main things.